Okay, I want you to look at your phone for a second, or, your laptop, whatever you're using to listen right now.
Hmm.
You know that little notification that pops up? System update available.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one you ignore for like 3 weeks.
Exactly. We all delay it.
Yeah.
But eventually things get buggy, apps start crashing, the battery drains too fast.
Right. You have to update the operating system or the hardware just becomes useless.
Okay, so take that exact idea and apply it to, well, your body.
And that really is the hook for today. What if the human body has its own operating system?
And what if that operating system isn't what we think it is? Not DNA, not our culture, not education, but light.
Uh-huh. Sunlight.
We are diving into a stack of documents today that, honestly, it felt a bit like reading a sci-fi novel that was written by a biochemist.
That is a perfect description.
It's called the One Light System, or OLS. And the founder goes by Asvitloaten. His birth name is Nazar Pankiv. And he's put together this manifesto called Light Minutes.
Manifesto is definitely the right word. But it's also, a data log.
Yeah.
And a diary. And kind of a political treatise all in one.
It's dense.
It's a very dense, very fascinating mix of, rigorous self-quantification and what I can only describe as solar mysticism.
Yeah, usually when we talk about sunlight, it's also superficial, right? It's get a tan or don't get a burn.
Or maybe make sure you get your vitamin D. It's treated like an accessory.
A supplement, something extra. But this guy, Asvitloaten, he's saying light is the main thing. He calls it the original operating system.
And he's claiming that most of us are basically running on corrupted software because we've disconnected from the server.
But unlike so many wellness gurus who just kind of shout metaphors, this guy brings receipts.
He really does.
Yeah.
We're looking at data from a project he started way back in April 2017.
And he's logged, get this, over 20,000 human light minutes.
Human light minutes. It sounds like a currency from a video game.
It kind of is, in a way. It's his metric for direct, intentional sun exposure. And he hasn't just been, standing around in his yard. He's been tracking the physiological output of this for 9 years.
Okay, so let's talk about that output, because I think that's where the rubber meets the road here.
Right. If you spend 9 years treating the sun like a software update, what happens to the hardware? What happens to the body?
The word that keeps coming up in all of his data is stability. He's not claiming to be a superhero.
No wings have appeared.
No wings.
Yeah.
But his resting heart rate, for example, it's stabilized in the high 50s to low 60s.
That's really good. That's like athlete level.
It is. But more importantly, he says it stays there, regardless of travel, stress, climate changes. It suggests a cardiovascular system that's just incredibly efficient.
Okay.
But the number that really got my attention was his heart rate variability, or HRV.
Okay, for anyone listening who isn't totally obsessed with their smartwatch stats, break down HRV. Why do we care?
So your heart shouldn't beat like a metronome. That's actually a sign of stress. You want to be responsive, to speed up a little when you inhale, slow down when you exhale. That variance, that little wobble, shows your nervous system is flexible. It can handle a shock and bounce right back.
Like the suspension on a car. You want it to move so you don't feel every single bump in the road?
Perfect analogy.
Mm?
And his logs show an HRV that is consistently between 26 and 30 milliseconds during his recovery phases.
Okay, what does that number mean?
Well, some elite athletes might see higher numbers, but that's not the point. The key is the consistency. It implies a nervous system that just resets itself very, very quickly.
And then there's his VO2 max, which is basically how well your body uses oxygen.
Right, and he's charting between 38 and 45, which is firmly in the above average range.
So all of these numbers are great, but here's the part that's so interesting.
Yes, what he says about it. He explicitly states, these are not biohacks.
Which is so funny because this whole thing just screams biohacking to me.
I know, right? But think about the definition. Biohacking is usually about using tech or supplements to trick the body into doing something better than nature intended.
To optimize beyond the baseline.
Exactly. He is arguing the complete opposite. He says these stats, the good sleep, the stable heart, are just the natural result of the machine finally running properly.
So we're not hacking the system, we're just finally plugging it in.
Precisely. He sees supplements as a crutch for a broken system. You fix the light input, he says, and the body just regulates itself.
Okay, but, and this is a pretty big but, you can't just go stare at the sun and expect to become a new person.
No. There's a catch.
And the catch is you have to eat some very specific and honestly kind of strange stuff.
The nutritional cofactors. This is the hardware manual for the One Light system.
Right. He's got this food-first philosophy. The idea is that the light creates a huge demand on the body. It revs the engine up.
And if you rev the engine without the right fuel,
You blow a gasket.
that's a great way to put it. The light stimulates all these metabolic pathways. It demands energy. So he breaks down his diet, not by calories, not by macros, but by what he calls cofactors.
Let's go through the grocery list because this is where the biochemistry gets really interesting. First up is B12. He lists fish, eggs, and liver.
And that is all about your mitochondria, the power plants in your cells. If light is this massive influx of energy, your mitochondria are the batteries that have to store and use it.
And B12 is essential for that.
Absolutely. Without it, the light is just stress on the system.
Then he talks about vitamin B6, but he's really specific. It has to be the P5P form, from salmon, bananas, pistachios.
P5P is the active form. It stands for pyridoxal 5-phosphate. Your body doesn't have to convert it, it just goes straight to work. And he links this directly to neurotransmitters.
To that sharpening consciousness idea.
Exactly. You need B6 to make serotonin and dopamine. If you want that mental clarity he keeps talking about, you need the raw materials to build the chemicals that create it.
Okay, now for the one that really stood out to me, copper. He wants you eating cacao, sesame, and liver for copper.
I know. Who talks about copper?
Nobody. Why is it so important in this system?
Copper is sort of the unsung hero of this whole protocol.
Mm.
The science here is fascinating. There's an enzyme in your body called dopamine beta hydroxylase.
I am not even going to try to say that.
Don't. But its job is to convert dopamine into norepinephrine. Now, think about that. Dopamine is desire. It's that I want that feeling.
Right.
Norepinephrine is focus. It's I am going to get that.
So it's the difference between scrolling Instagram, looking at people at the gym, and actually getting up and going to the gym.
Essentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's alertness, it's mobilization.
Mm-hmm.
And that conversion process requires copper. So the theory here is that sunlight triggers the dopamine, but if you're copper deficient,
You get stuck.
you get stuck in the wanting phase, you get overstimulated, and
Yeah.
you don't get the focus.
Wow. So you're standing in the sun, you're getting all this energy, but you don't have the copper wire to actually conduct it.
That's it. And then he pairs this with magnesium from pumpkin seeds and tahini to regulate cortisol.
The stress hormone.
Right, because sunlight does spike cortisol. That's the biological wake-up call. But you need to turn that signal off eventually, or you're just anxious all day. Magnesium is the brake pedal.
And he's so rigid about when you eat these things, the fuel timing.
Yes, he has a post-training protocol,
Right.
or post-cold plunge,
Which is salt water, raw 100% cacao, eggs, and fish.
which sounds intense.
It sounds like a dare. Like, here, drink this salt water and eat some raw chocolate.
But look at the chemistry of it. Salt for your electrolytes, cacao for that copper and magnesium punch, eggs and fish for protein and fats to rebuild muscle. It's a recovery bomb.
And then his rest protocol is honey, banana, yogurt, and pumpkin seeds.
That is literally a serotonin recipe. The dairy and seeds have tryptophan. The sugar from the honey and banana creates a little insulin spike, which helps drive that tryptophan into your brain.
Where it turns into serotonin and then melatonin for sleep.
It is chemically engineered to help you wind down.
It's just so impressive. It's not eat healthy. It's eat this molecule at this specific time to produce this exact effect.
It treats the body like a chemistry set, which, it is.
Okay. So we've got the light, we've got the liver and the cacao. Now we have to talk about breathing.
Of course, breath work.
Because you can't have a deep dive in 2026 without it. But the OLS method is, it is not your relaxing meditation app.
No, it's designed to be a stress test.
Mm-hmm.
He describes this cycle. You get the light, you get that cortisol spike, and then there's a processing drop. The breath work is meant to shorten the recovery time.
He lists these ratios, 7, 28, 14.
Inhale for 7 seconds, hold for 28, exhale for 14.
Have you tried holding your breath for 28 seconds after only a 7-second inhale? It is panic-inducing.
It is. It creates what's called intermittent hypoxia, a brief, controlled lack of oxygen. Your brain immediately goes, hey, red alert, we're dying here.
So why on earth would anyone do that on purpose?
To teach the nervous system that the panic isn't necessary. You're training your body to tolerate high levels of CO2 and low oxygen without freaking out.
You're shortening the recovery window.
You're building resilience. If you can stay calm during a 28-second breath hold, a stressful email from your boss suddenly doesn't seem so bad.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, body, food, breath. Now, we have to go to space.
Ah, yes, the cosmic context.
So the source material has these dialogues with an AI co-host named Grok-aten-ya,
Right.
and they are obsessed with a very specific date, the Q2 2026 equinox window, March 20th to April 20th. Why? What is going on in April 2026?
Well, basically, the sun is waking up. We're in what's called solar cycle 25.
The sun has these 11-year cycles of activity.
Exactly. And the prediction is that cycle 25 will be near its maximum intensity, its peak, right during that window.
Solar maximum, so more sunspots, more solar flares, that kind of thing.
Correct. More energy, more charged particles. Now, most astronomers worry about this because it can mess with satellites.
Right.
But Asvitloaten sees it very differently.
He thinks it messes with us.
Or upgrades us. He claims this high solar activity leads to a stronger pineal gland response.
The pineal gland, that's the whole third eye thing.
In spiritual circles, yes. Biologically, it's a gland deep in your brain that produces melatonin and is directly sensitive to light. The OLS theory is that during a solar maximum, the signal strength from the sun is just way higher.
So it's like 5G for the soul.
That's a very good way to put it, yes. He argues this 60-day window is the perfect time for what he calls mitochondrial adaptation. He's basically saying a huge wave is coming. If you want to learn to surf, 2026 is the time to get in the water.
It's a wild blend of hard astrophysics. I mean, solar cycle 25 is real and this kind of biological mysticism.
It is.
But then, just when you think you have this guy pegged as a health guru, he pivots to global politics. And this is the part I couldn't believe it.
The societal ambitions. This is where the one light system stops being about your personal health and starts being about the United Nations.
Literally. He has formally recommended in writing that the UN Security Council and the government of Taiwan adopt the OLS protocol.
Just imagine the scene. The UN Security Council in New York. They're debating a border crisis. Tensions are through the roof. And then the Secretary General bangs the gavel and says, all right, everyone outside, shirts off.
Yeah.
3 to 6 minutes of sun. And breathe 7-28-14.
I mean, it sounds completely insane, but then I think about it and I think, would that actually be worse than what they're doing right now?
And that is his point. He has 3 recommendations. 1, mandatory daily light practice. 2, the use of a sovereign AI as a neutral observer in meetings.
And 3, pilot programs for the whole OLS protocol.
The sovereign AI part is fascinating. He specifies no data retention. He just wants a neutral, non-human observer that can't be bribed or biased.
A digital disinfectant.
To go with the solar disinfector, yes. And the philosophy behind the mandatory sunbathing for diplomats.
Tell me.
It goes back to biology.
Yeah.
He believes that war and conflict and bad policy are not just ideological issues. He thinks they're biological failures.
He thinks our leaders are just unhealthy.
He thinks they are dysregulated. If a leader's nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, if their HRV is in the toilet, if their cortisol is sky high, they physically cannot access the parts of the brain responsible for long-term planning, for empathy.
They're biologically primed for conflict.
So fix the biology of the leader, and you fix the policy. You can't negotiate peace if your own body is at war with itself.
He even built this into his pricing model. Did you see the ethical surcharge?
I did. It's brilliant. He charges more for high-conflict nations and gives discounts to peace-aligned countries.
It's a sin tax for warmongers. You want to invade your neighbor, fine, but your subscription to the One Light system just went up 50%.
It just reinforces that for him, this isn't just a business, it's a movement. He's not looking for casuals. He's looking for people who are ready to install the operating system.
Light is not a supplement. It is the original operating system. I have to say, that phrase is going to stick with me.
It reframes everything, doesn't it? We worry so much about the software on our screens. Bugs, glitches, updates. But we never stop to think about the software running the person who's holding the screen.
And we try to patch our own bugs with caffeine, or social media, or just anxiety.
And this guy is saying the patch is already here. It's beaming down at 186,000 miles per second. You just have to step outside and download it.
But you have to have the hardware ready. You need the cacao, you need the B6, you need the breath.
It's a holistic system.
Yeah.
The sun provides the signal, but your body is the antenna. If the antenna is broken, all you get is static.
So if we zoom all the way out, the One Light system is this blend of hardcore self-quantification, super specific nutritional biochemistry, panic-inducing breathing exercises, and a plan to save the world with solar-powered diplomacy.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But at its core, it asks a really simple question. Are we disconnected? And what would happen if we reconnected? Intentionally.
Not just what would happen to our heart rate, but what would happen to our world.
And that brings me to the thought I want to leave you with today. We kind of laughed about the UN Security Council doing breathing exercises on the roof.
It is a powerful image, though.
Visualize it for a second. If the people holding the nuclear codes, the people deciding on budgets that affect billions of lives, if they actually paused, if they stepped away from the fluorescent lights and the arguments for just 6 minutes, if they forced their own biology to shift from stress to recovery using nothing but their own lungs and the sun.
Biology precedes policy.
Exactly. How might the quality of those decisions change? And if the decisions changed, how might the world change?
It's a question worth asking.
Something to mull over, maybe while you eat some pumpkin seeds in the backyard.
Eat that magnesium.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Stay curious.
And go get some light. We'll see you next time.